Hi guys, Linda here from ITTT. Welcome. We're back again this week for another live session. And this week's topic is all about the TEFL interview. And the topic is 10 questions to ask before accepting a teaching abroad job offer. So these are 10 questions that you should be asking. You, as the EFL teacher, should be asking your potential or future employer before accepting and before signing that contract. So just to make sure that you're all on the same page, that it is a legit job, and that you know what you're getting yourself into, basically, and you know what the job entails. So yeah, this is a really good topic for anyone who wants to go and teach English abroad, of course. Also, sometimes if it's a remote or online teaching position, might be some similar stuff to ask. But mostly these questions are for someone who is moving abroad to teach, and they will really help you make sure that you are, accepting a good teaching job abroad, and kind of what to think about, what questions to think about, because there's some things maybe you are not even thinking about in the moment when you're doing your interview or in the application process. So that is that. If you can see me, if you can hear me clearly, please leave just a hi in the comments. And I also want to know where you are watching from today. I'm always very curious. If you've seen this before, you know that I always ask, where are you watching from today? I'm in South Korea, and it is 10:30 a.m. Friday morning. So I'm in South Korea. What about you guys? Where are you watching from today? What time is it? How are you doing? Let me know in the comments. And if you can't see me, can't hear me, if there are any technical issues, also please let me know so that I can get those fixed, and then we can have a smooth live session today. With that being said, also, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube and all the other socials, you are really you get the most information possible when it comes to TEFL, TESOL, and teaching English abroad. On our Facebook page, we share a lot of content that job offers, for example, teaching job offers, very interesting for today's topic, but also things like teaching materials that you can use in your classroom for teachers, worksheets you can print out, just other kind of course information. We have so many different types of courses. If you've taken one before, or if you've seen our website, so sometimes it can be difficult to navigate which course is right for me. So we also share that on our Facebook page and also on YouTube, of course. And then whenever we do go live, you are notified and you know when it's happening so that you can join. But even if you can't join, we always keep our live sessions in our playlists, both on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can watch the replay. You can watch it later if you don't have time today, no problem. Also, if you leave comments on the videos, we get back to you later on as well. And if you're listening to this as a podcast episode, thank you so much for the download. And we also have a podcast. So every time we have a live session, we actually turn our episodes into podcast episodes, or live sessions into podcast episodes. So if you're interested in, just the audio only format of this session, you can Google, or, whatever podcast platform you use, you type in TEFL and TESOL podcast by ITTT, and that will show up there as well. So that is kind of there. Oh, Lorado is back. Hi, Lorado. From Botswana, 3:38 a.m. Oh my gosh. Great. Looking forward to another interactive session. Thank you so much for joining, Lorado. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you're having a good night, I guess. Good morning, early morning, night. Awesome. Cool. Very, very nice. Also, first that maybe we have... Oh, wait. Here we go. This is the slide. Yes, that's the right one. So we also have a 30% discount, a 30% discount code today. Only during our live sessions, we share a discount this big. Okay, so that's very special, only for you guys. So if you have not taken a TEFL or a TESOL certificate yet, this is a great incentive, maybe, to get started and to do so. So you can scan this QR code. You also, throughout the entire live session, you find this QR code in, oh my gosh, here in this right-hand upper corner there. You can scan it. You can scan it right now, or I also have a link for you. Let me share the link with you. And also, if you're listening to this as a podcast episode, you can find the link in the podcast description. But yeah, this is the link right here. So you copy paste this link and it will lead you to the application page. And then you'll see at the top, congratulations, you get 30% off of your TEFL course, something like that. So you know that that's the right link. And then whenever you are ready, whenever you have decided which TEFL course you want to take, you can do so with this link and save a bit of money. Because we all love saving a bit of money. And then we can use that money when we go abroad, to travel, to have fun, and all of that. At least that's what I would do. All right. Well, good. Then also a quick introduction just for me, if somebody's watching this for the first time and wondering, who is she? My name is Linda. I'm a language teacher. I'm a travel writer. I'm also a content creator. I'm a TEFL expert. I'm many different things. And let me just make this bigger so you can read the slide. But, or actually, maybe this. So I have my own website also at lindagoeseast.com. And maybe I'm just going to remove this banner so it doesn't look that weird. Okay. So Linda Goes East because I've been interested in Asia for a very long time. I've lived in Asia pretty much since 2012. So if you're interested in moving to Asia for teaching English or just traveling in Asia, you can also reach out to me. And you can go to lindagoeseast.com. There's a lot of information for this particular part of the world. I'm originally from Germany / the US. My mom is German, my dad's American, and I'm based in South Korea. Why did I say South America? Because I want to go there. That's on my mind. I'm based in South Korea for since 2015, so for 8 years already. And before that, I also lived in China. I taught English there, and then I moved to Korea. So if you're interested in China, Korea, other Asian countries, go check out lindagoeseast.com, or also my Instagram feed, Instagram at lindagoeseast for info. And that is that. And then the other side of what I do, the TEFL TESOL marketing side. Actually, before I moved to Korea, I took a TEFL course, and that TEFL course was from ITTT. And that's kind of how I found out about ITTT, and I started working for them as well. So I just did a Google search for TEFL certificates, and I found ITTT, and I loved what I was seeing. I liked the reviews. I liked the content. And then I took the course, and then I kind of ended up working for ITTT as well. So, and ITTT, if you're new, stands for International TEFL and TESOL Training. And yeah, we are a leading TEFL and TESOL course provider worldwide. We've been around since the 90s. And lots of different course options, online courses, in-class courses as well, and then a combined course option, which combines both things. So check it out, teflcourse.net for all the options and to get started. And like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss anything. And again, 30% off. I shared that link. I'm going to share that later again as well, the 30% link. And then, yeah. Amitava. Hi, Amitava. Amitava says, hello, Linda. How are you faring now? I'm extremely sorry for missing your previous live session last Friday, the 14th. That's all right. Don't worry. I missed you there as well, actually. Thank you. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. How about you? How are you doing, Amitava? Thanks for being here now. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I know you guys have a busy schedule as well. You can't join every week. I get it. That's fine. No hard feelings. Okay, let's do this way. All right. Yeah. So like I said, today we're going to talk about, TEFL interview. 10 questions to ask before accepting a teaching abroad job offer. And these are 10 questions that you should ask your potential employer when you're doing your interview or before, like in the interview process, right? During the interview or after. We're going to talk about that as well, how you can kind of navigate that. But that is today's topic. And then before we do that, though, I want to give you a quick TEFL interview checklist. So for your interview, things that are very important that you can do to just have the most positive experience, the most positive interview experience as possible. And then we jump into the questions. So first, of course, find a quiet and well-lit spot in your house. Most, maybe I should say that too, but most TEFL, TESOL, teaching job abroad interviews, they take place via Skype or Zoom, so online. So you want to make sure that you have a quiet and a well-lit spot. So have some light, preferably natural light. Like I'm sitting in front of a big window, natural light is coming in. That's what you want to get. So you look as good as possible. Also, before the interview, make sure that you test your Skype or Zoom or just internet connection and make sure that your earphones are working and that your microphone is on and working, all of these things before you start. And make sure that you're online at least like 15 minutes before the interview starts, so that if there are any issues that you can fix them before. I don't know about you, but this happened to me before, especially also before my live sessions. I have a very similar checklist actually for these live sessions. But sometimes there would be like an update, a Windows update, or this update come in, and I'm like, oh no, I'm supposed to go live. So that's why it's important to be early to get all of these issues fixed, if there are any. Then, of course, make sure you dress to impress. You should wear basically similar stuff to what you would wear if it was like an in-person, face-to-face interview. So just wear something nice. And also keep in mind that nonverbal communication is important, especially now with all the Zoom and Skype. Just smile. You can use your hands, especially as a teacher. It's very important that you have good nonverbal communication, body language. You smile, you look approachable. That's very important. And also remember that you must communicate well, especially for an English teaching position. Part of the interview is also to hear you speak, right? What kind of English you're speaking. Is it very clear? Your pronunciation is good? Will students be able to understand you? So just make sure you do that. Of course, use proper grammar where possible, all of these things. So this is our checklist before I want to jump into the questions. But let me know if you would like a whole in-depth live session about the TEFL interview in general. We can go in depth of all of these things, how to prepare, how to set up your space, all of these things like more in depth. We can also do a live session about that. Let me know if you want that, and then I can prepare that and do it for you as well. We can talk all about that, because I think having a good interview is, of course, can be, a determining factor whether or not you're getting the job or not, right? So it's very important that you are as best prepared as possible when it comes to interviewing. So let me know if that's something you would like to hear about. But with that being said, we are jumping into that's also what I wanted to say. So today's topic is the 10 questions that you should ask your TEFL employer. But I also did a previous live session about the 15 most asked questions in a TEFL interview from the employer to you. So highly recommend you check that out. That's from a previous live session, and I'm going to share the link to this live session with you guys in the comments right now, so you can check it out. So these are questions that you, if you are, or when you are interviewing for a teaching abroad position, are likely going to be asked. Okay, so check out this link right here. That's the link to the live session, and then you can see all the questions so you can prepare, right? So today's video or today's live session and this previous live session, they kind of go hand in hand. You want to be aware of all the questions that you should ask, but also that you are getting asked. So then you are really prepared very well for your interview. Okay, then we are jumping right in. 10 questions to ask before accepting a teaching abroad job offer. And as always, if there are any comments, any feedback, any questions throughout this live session, feel free to just leave a comment and then we can talk about it. Also at the end, there will be, as always, there will be a Q&A session where we can talk about other things. You can ask me questions about other things not related to today's topic. So that's the plan for today. And let me have some coffee and then we can get started. Okay, perfect. Amitava says, yes, Linda. At least I would definitely want to have an in-depth discussion about the TEFL interview process in the near future, indeed. Okay, noted. And I'm going to prepare that for you because it's also going to tie in very well with today's topic. So maybe we can do that next week already. We'll see. But I am going to prepare that definitely and then have that for you. Great. All right, jumping in with question number 1, what you should ask, and they are also not in any particular order, okay, random order, not from most important to least important or anything like that. So we're going to start off with, what type of visa do I need? This is something you should ask during the interview process. And beforehand also, you should already do a little bit of homework and kind of know what kind of visa you need. So learn about the country's work visas, what kind of visas they have, and then take note of the different rules and requirements. And then the employer, when you ask that, the employer should be familiar with the process, right? They should say the same thing that what you found out before, and it should align because they should know what they're doing. Because when you get a teaching English abroad job, most of the time, the employer, so the school, they will help you with the work visa, okay? So they should know what you should do and what you should prepare. If an employer says that you need only a tourist visa to teach, be very wary, okay? Some employers, they may be illegally avoiding taxes and they don't want to cover any visa costs and then put your rights at risk as a result. And if you do that, if you're like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna work with the tourist visa. Some countries it's okay. So do your research. In some countries that is legal, you can do that. But in many countries, I would say the majority, most of the countries for teaching English, it is not legal to work on a tourist visa. And you need a proper English teacher visa, work visa, whatever the name is in that country. And if the employer says, oh yeah, you can just work on a tourist visa, be careful. Because if that comes out, yes, the school will have to pay a fine usually, but you will have some legal issues. You might even get kicked out of the country, never deported, basically. You get deported. You might not be able to come back. So be really, really careful. This is a big issue. And that's one of the most important things you should ask about visa things and, if they will help you, if the employer will help you or not, and all of these things. And a good employer will help you with that, and they should know the right visa type and what you need. So this is question number 1, very, very important. And don't forget to ask that. And just more so for checking the employer's vibe. You should do your homework before, like I said, research what visa you will need, and then still ask the employer to make sure they say the same thing. Or if they say, oh, you can just work with a tourist visa, walk away. That would be my tip. So this was a quick one, but let's talk about number 2. Question number 2 you should ask is, what's included in my contract? So talking salary and benefits and all of these things, accommodation, whatnot. So TEFL salaries, as we know by now, I'm sure they often depend on where you're teaching and for how long, where as in the country, the city, also what type of school, public school, private school, university, international school, they all typically have different salary ranges. So again, before that, already do your research so you kind of know the salary range for the position that you're applying for. Similar positions, you can find this information either on our FAQ section. We have a very vast FAQ section. Pretty much we have so many FAQs. How much can I earn teaching English in blank, and then all the countries? So go check that out. You can also just Google that and read different articles about the topic. You can also find, blogs of people who are currently living and teaching in this country, and either reach out to them if they don't have it on their website, or just read their blogs and firsthand accounts and things like that. So just make sure you already kind of know the salary range, and again, check and see if that matches with what the employer then says. And also clarify whether the salary stated is pre-tax or not, right? Sometimes some countries, they do it differently. They say, however they state it, pre-tax or not. Also noteworthy, a lot of countries actually in the Middle East, they have tax-free salaries. So if you're applying in a Middle Eastern country, also ask about that. Is the salary tax-free? Can you tell me more about that? All of these things, that's very important. And then try to, or learn to look at your compensation, your salary, as a total package, okay? For teaching English abroad, this mostly does not only include your salary, but it also includes insurance, housing, lodging, airfare, vacation days, all of these things. So make sure you ask for that. What's my, okay, now we talked about the salary. How about the whole total compensation package? What is included? Is there insurance? What about housing? What about airfare? All of these things. And then also the last point, and especially for first-time teachers, this might be a little bit difficult, but be prepared to negotiate, right? And I feel like I see this a lot with teachers really, really eager to go abroad to teach, and they just take the first job offer they get, right? Without negotiating, without anything. They just take it. They're like, oh, thank you. Be prepared to negotiate for any additional benefits, just to sweeten the deal. You can negotiate anything. You can ask, well, they can just say no. That's the worst that happens. So be prepared to negotiate. Don't be shy. Just really try and stand your ground and see, what the best deal you can get, right? The best deal you can get. Sometimes they also have, if, for example, you stay for a year and you sign on for an additional year, a second year, and so on, you get a bonus, all of these things. Talk about that. Sometimes if they do not provide housing, then you would get a housing allowance every month. That's also very common. So just know that, and then ask, oh, I heard a lot of schools for teaching English abroad, they provide housing. How about your school? And then they will let you know. Okay, good. I think that's all about that. If you have any questions about this particular section, let me know, and then I can come back to it. Maybe I forgot something, but I think that's the most important stuff. Then we are moving on to question number 3, and this is, who pays taxes and how? Okay, so clarify right from the beginning who's responsible for any tax obligations, because some countries do it differently. So some countries, they actually deduct a percentage of your net income from every paycheck, right? While others, they don't have any income taxes. So again, you can ask, especially in the Middle East with the tax-free situations, or also I know that US citizens, they have to file taxes back home. Even if you work abroad and you don't live in the US, you still have to file your taxes in the US. So that's something they might not be able to help you with, but they might know from previous teachers that they've worked with, and can kind of give you some info. In some places, like Korea, for example, a portion of tax deducted is refunded to you at contract completion, or actually rather when you leave the country. So this would be, is this the pension? I think that's the pension scheme. Might also be a severance. There's 2 in Korea, a severance pay and then the national pension scheme. So that's also something you should ask about. Some countries, you pay into the national pension scheme, but then when you leave, you can actually get all of that money back. And for Korea, depending on how long you teach there, even I think if you just teach 1 year, you get about $2,000 back, or 2.5, it depends. But your employer should know about that, should inform you, and should help you with that. So tax issues, as always. And there's also with taxes, especially for US citizens, like we said, because US citizens have to file taxes back home as well. There are a lot of support groups on Facebook, actually. I know there's a Facebook group, for example, for Korea. There's also even services specifically for US citizens living abroad who can help you with your tax filings if you've never done that before and all of that. So don't be scared. There's a lot of support, a lot of other expats, and you can, with this kind of stuff, if your employer doesn't help you or can't help you, you can always ask your coworkers or any other expats that you meet while living abroad, and they are usually more than welcome and more than happy and welcoming in helping you with that kind of stuff. Okay, perfect. Then we're jumping into question number 4. And this is something we just kind of touched on already, but what are my housing options? So very important, like I said in the beginning, there are a lot of teaching English abroad schools, contracts that actually offer free housing. So during the interview process, clarify with your employer whether housing is provided or not, and also ask if it is provided, then ask if you'll be sharing a space or do you have your own place, and also if you could see maybe some pictures so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. What does the kitchen look like? What does the bathroom look like? A lot of different countries have different kitchens, different bathrooms in different parts of the world. So just either that you can tell them, oh, do you have a different option? This is not what I'm looking for. Or just kind of also to minimize maybe culture shock. And it's actually funny because I'm in this Facebook group for teaching English in Korea. And I remember seeing like somebody post before, oh, they just arrived in Korea in their teacher apartment, in their teacher housing, and they posted a picture of the bathroom. And a lot of bathrooms in Korea, especially in older houses or very small apartments, they would have not a enclosed shower, but it's just basically a shower head in your small bathroom. And the whole small room is your shower, basically. And so they were posting that and they were totally shocked, and they were asking if this is normal and why the employer gave them such a weird bathroom, such a weird apartment with this bathroom and stuff. And everybody was like, well, welcome to Korea. This is what it looks like. Something like that. So ask for pictures, and then you just can also get prepared, okay, this is what it looks like. Or also size wise, depending on what you want to bring, things like that. And if they do not provide any housing, then your employer should always be able to recommend local resources or just help you with your housing search. I remember when I moved to China for my job, my employer helped me and took me to different apartments to look around and see which one I liked. They didn't provide housing, but they just helped me with the apartment search. So that's also very good. And then in another Chinese apartment where I lived, it was shared housing. So yeah, really different options. Make sure you just know. I think the overall thing, the biggest thing you should remember is don't assume anything. So don't assume, oh, it's going to be like back home, or, oh, it's going to be like this apartment from that girl that I saw on TikTok. Don't assume anything. It's better to ask as many questions, even if you think they're dumb questions. There are no dumb or stupid questions. Make sure you just ask so that you really know what you're getting yourself into, especially with things like housing, right? You want to make sure you live in a good space, and if you're paying for it, if they pay for it, make sure you know all of that before you sign the contract. And then you can also, if there is another job offer, and for example, job offer A, they don't provide housing, right? Job offer B, they do provide housing. Well, maybe, depends on what you're looking for. Maybe the one with housing is the better one. You just need to know these details to make the best possible decision, basically. All right, perfect. Question number 5. How will I travel to and from class? So this is also once you know about your apartment, if they're like, yeah, we provide housing, then this would be the next question to ask. Well, how will I travel to and from class, right? Is the housing provided within walking distance? Usually, I will say it is, especially in Korea. My teacher's apartment in Korea, I walk like 5 minutes to school. So usually it's very close, it's in the vicinity, but it might also not be. Again, don't assume anything. Don't assume anything. It might not be. And then remote regions, they could require you to have a car or a bike. So if it's really remote, just make sure you ask, or what's the public transportation look like of that city? Are there buses? Is there subway? Are there trains? Things like that you can ask. And then also it's possible to negotiate any kind of transportation costs before you accept the job. So a lot of teachers actually, they get a transportation allowance. So every month, either the school, a lot of cities, they have these bus and subway passes, monthly transportation card, things like that. So some schools, they provide that for their teachers, some don't. So make sure you just ask and see what you get and what you don't get. Or maybe this is something you could also negotiate, right? Because sometimes transportation costs, they can also be very costly and very expensive. So if they don't give you a house, if they don't give you housing, maybe at least they could provide a transportation card every month, something like that. All right, Emilio. Hi, Emilio. Tuning in a little late today, but here I am. Hello from Barcelona. Hi, how's the weather in Barcelona? Is it very hot? I've been hearing like horror stories of heat waves in Europe at the moment. What's it like in Barcelona? Just taking maybe a few moments here as like a break, because this is we're halfway through now, question number 5. So let's check in. And I just want to ask you guys if you had any questions. I keep scratching my nose. I apologize. I think I said this last time, but it's very humid in Korea, and I don't have air conditioning in this room. I have a fan behind me, and I also have cats. So there's a lot of little cat hairs stuck to my face because of this humidity. So I apologize. But anyway, just checking in so far. We covered 5 questions now. If you guys had any questions, or if you wanted to add something, I know many of you have already taught abroad or are currently teaching English abroad. So maybe share what it's like for you. I always try to share what it was like for me. Or if there's anything not clear that I said until now, let me know. And then I just want to say this one more time. We do have a 30% discount code off of all ITTT, TEFL, and TESOL courses. I'm just going to share that again in our chat so you can check it out and you can get started with your teaching adventure if you're ready to do so. Oh wait, I shared it in the wrong chat. Here we go. So it looks like this. It ends with FB Live minus Linda. And again, if you're listening to this as a podcast, it is in the podcast description as well. And yeah, just waiting a couple more seconds here maybe to see if any questions are coming through. And if not, then we're just going to move on to question number 6. And again, Emilio, because Emilio said tuning in a little late. You can always watch the replay. All of our live sessions remain in our playlists, both on Facebook and on YouTube. So you can always go back and rewatch. And even if you leave a comment, like I said, we will get back to you as well later on. So yeah. Oh, and also maybe if you have any questions, you want to reach out to ITTT and our team. Our email address is courses at courses@tsol-tefl.com. So you can always email us, and then my colleagues, they will get back to you. You can schedule a consultation to check out which course is right for you or which country you could go to teach, all of these things. But yeah. All right, then we're just going to move on to question number 6. Again, I'm going to keep my eye here on the comments. If anything's coming through, I'm going to share that. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to answer the question. All right, question number 6 that you should ask during the interview process before you commit to a teaching job is, how many international teachers are at your school? So because there's a lot of schools where either if it's a really small school, you might be the only foreign teacher there. So if that's the case, you need to ask yourself, are you comfortable with being the only one? Is that okay for you, or do you think you wouldn't really like that? Some schools, like I said, have only one foreign teacher, especially if it's a smaller school. However, big schools, they usually have several international teachers. So it depends, if you think you don't mind being the only foreign teacher there, that's cool. But if you're like, I don't know if that's so good for me, maybe then that job would be not for you. So at my school where I taught, my first year in Korea was a rather big school, and we had 9 or 10 foreign teachers, and they were from all different parts of the world. So it was really interesting and really fun. Lots of cool people. So that definitely helped, especially as a first-time teacher, I imagine. And, you have a lot of culture shock as well. You're kind of just discovering the new environment. So then if you have other foreign teachers there, it really helps, right? So that's good. But if you're like, hey, I don't mind being like the only one, what an adventure, that's really cool too. And you can always find an expat community in pretty much every city, every place, outside of work as well. So it's also not that bad of a thing. And the last part here, or the last point here, says ask to speak to them. So if they already have a lot of different foreign teachers, you can always ask to just speak with them. Oh, can I reach out to one of them before I make my decision? You can ask them, and how do you like teaching at the school? What do you think? So that's also very common, that you can speak with one of the teachers currently teaching at that school and kind of ask them about what it's like, what the school is like, before you make your decision. So it's very common. So you can also do that. Great. And Emilio says it's about 27 degrees Celsius, 81 Fahrenheit now, which is not bad. It gets worse than that this time of year. Trust me. Okay. Yeah, 27 is not that bad. Okay. Nice. Very nice. Cool. 27 degrees in Barcelona. Like right now? It's nighttime. It's also very early where you are, right, Emilio? Or really late? Also 3 a.m.? What time is it, Emilio? What are you doing up so early? I just realized that. Anyway, so that is that. How many teachers are at the school, so that you can get an idea. Because if you just accept the job and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to have all these cool coworkers, and then you get there and they're like, oh, what? You're the only one. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. So ask that, and then to avoid any kind of shock. All right, question number 7 is also very important, and I think a lot of maybe new teachers or just teachers in general, they don't ask that. And that's very important to ask. So what teaching resources are available to me? Okay, so will you have to plan your entire curriculum, or are lesson plans provided? Both could happen. So my school where I worked in, I think both China and Korea, they all had curriculums, and they provided us with lesson plans and all the material. But sometimes, of course, you have to prepare additional things, right? But there are also some schools that do not have their own curriculum, and they basically give you the whole entire freedom to come up with your entire curriculum, your own entire curriculum for the whole school year. So that can also happen. So just be aware, right? Ask that, and then think, what do I prefer? If you can make your own curriculum, it's also very exciting. You have a lot of freedom. You can put in everything that you want to put in, right? So that's really good. But it's also more work, maybe. But then the teaching hours might be less. So also ask that, right? I don't know if this is actually a question covered. This should also be a question. We'll get back to that. But yeah, that's important. So what teaching resources are available? Do you have to plan your own lessons? Are the lesson plans provided? Again, don't assume your employer will provide the same teaching equipment you're used to back home. So if you've already been teaching, or just you from your own school time, don't assume anything. Don't assume you have the same equipment as back home, right? It might be totally different. And then you can ask, find out if the school has a library with English books or not, if they have a computer lab, if they have photocopiers, TVs, projectors, smart boards. It's kind of ask them, what teaching resources are available? What is there in a classroom? So you kind of know what you can use, and if it's the same, maybe what you've done before, or if it's different, you might have to adjust all of these things. So just so that you can kind of picture the school setting better, so you're better prepared again, and you're not arriving there and they don't have anything, and you're shocked or something. You're overwhelmed because you expected all of these things like back home. Might be different. Great. Oh, and also maybe something about the teaching resources. So if you have to plan your whole curriculum, there's so many resources online where you can download entire lesson plans. You can download entire curriculums. You can definitely do that. It saves you time, and they're usually pretty good. So you can do a Google search for these kinds of things, even with the level, the kinds of topics that you want. Or even, this is something we covered a couple of weeks ago, use ChatGPT to come up with a curriculum, right? If you don't know what that is or how to use it, I did a live session about how to use ChatGPT in your teaching daily life and how it can help you. So also lesson planning is one of the things that it can do. So check it out in our playlist. Very interesting topic. All right, Emilio here says, it's very early here, 4:12 a.m. Exactly. I'm a doctor. I work around the clock, so I'm usually up this early. Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember you saying that you're a doctor. Nice. Oh, wow. Wow, Emilio. That's crazy. 4:12 a.m. Good for you. Good for you. I hope you're also getting a lot of rest. I know that's sometimes very rare when you're a doctor, so I hope you're taking care of yourself too. Okay, question number 8. Oh yeah, this kind of ties in with that as well. So not only the teaching resources and what kind of equipment you have, but also what does the typical classroom look like in terms of students? So what types of students do you want to teach, right? Think about that too. What types of students do you want to teach? And ask them, what kind of students are there? So, for example, what could be different types of students? Well, the age groups, right? If it's a kindergarten, they're very young, elementary school, middle school, high school, university, the age groups, but also kind of the backgrounds. So I used to teach at an English-speaking kindergarten where a lot of the kids actually lived abroad before. So their English level was very high because they lived in English-speaking countries before, just other countries, and they are used to English a lot. So their level was really high. However, of course, that's not the norm, right? It could be just lower level. There is also one class at our kindergarten where it's kind of a lower level class. So ask them, what types of students, the age groups, backgrounds, also the subjects. What kind of subjects will you teach? Will you only teach strictly English, or is it English or a different subject but in English? That can also happen, right? You're either just the English teacher or you're the teacher teaching in English. could be different. It's a different thing. So at my kindergarten, where I used to teach in Korea, I taught all different kinds of subjects, but all in English. So we had science, we had, what did we have? Reading, writing, I don't know, kindergarten stuff, but also science things, and I don't remember exactly what it was called. We also had like PE kind of class, so you teach different subjects, but in English. But at the private school where I used to teach in China, this was strictly only English. So grammar, reading, like a textbook English class, basically. So it can be different depending on the school. Ask that. And then also very important, what you should ask, what a lot of teachers don't think about, will there be a local co-teacher or will you be alone in the classroom? That's also very important, right? So a lot of times, especially where I used to teach in China, in Korea, in Japan also, it's very common to have a local co-teacher there. So you are in the classroom. I used to be like the main teacher. This can also be different. At my Korean school, I was the main teacher. And then we had a local Korean teacher kind of sitting in the back and doing all the admin stuff. So they wrote in the students' books every day, like a report. They would communicate with the parents. They would serve them lunch. Every day, the last hour of the day would be the local co-teacher's class, so that they would get them ready to kind of leave for the day. So they do those kinds of things. But it can also be the other way around, where the local teacher is the main teacher and you're kind of just the assistant. This is a lot of times how it is in Japan, where you're the assistant language teacher. So the main language teacher, the local teacher would be teaching, and then you would sometimes either, for pronunciation or for the native English side, you would come in. So it can be different. Or sometimes you're the only one there. You're the only one there and you have to handle everything sometimes. So ask for that, or ask about that. Ask about that so you know what you're getting yourself into, and how the setup is. That's very important as well. Good. Then we have question number 9 here. How are teaching arrangements determined? Okay. Yeah. So similar to what we just talked about, some language schools, they implement a rotational system that allows you to see your students at varying frequencies. So that was the case in my school. I always, for the whole semester, the whole school year, I had the same students, right? And I would see them Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the other students Tuesday, Thursday. That's rotational. You would see the same students all the time, right? But other schools, they actually run short form courses. So you might have a course for a whole month, and then the next month you have new students. And then the month after that, you have totally new students again. So it might be like that. Ask for that, or ask about that. Ask about that, what it's like. How are the teaching arrangements done at the school? How often do you change? Do you always have new students, or do you keep the same students throughout a period of time? Okay, great. Let me read Emilio's comment here. Emilio says, the main reason I want to pursue this teaching path, besides the passion I have for it, is the need of having a little more regular lifestyle. I love my career, but sometimes I feel it drains me. Yeah, I bet. I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. Maybe also, if you say, I love my career. If you really love your career, maybe, I don't know if this is possible. If you could take like a gap year, maybe, from your job, right? And you go abroad for a year and teach English. And then after the year, you come back to your career if you love it that much. I don't think maybe you should give it up. I'm not sure. But well, follow your heart, and follow your gut instinct. But maybe that's a good option too. You just go abroad for a year or 2, and then you come back to your job. I don't know. A lot of companies nowadays, they're very flexible with that kind of things. Not sure. I'm not sure about Spain, but maybe that's an option. You don't have to give it up if you love it. All right, so this is the teaching arrangements with the students. And last question. Oh, I actually have a bonus question too, but question number 10. Important. Can I get everything in writing? Okay. Can I get everything in writing? That's a very important question to ask. So everything that, oh, I don't know why this is showing up like this. I apologize. This should not be happening. Anyway, anything that you work out through your interview that is spoken, not in writing, make sure that you ask for it in writing. If they say, oh yeah, we'll provide housing, we'll provide a housing allowance, make sure you get that in writing, right? Those are details about salary, housing, airfare, any bonuses, paid time off. These should all be addressed in your employment contract at the end, right? So therefore, if they promise you anything, if they say yes to something during just a verbal conversation, you should make, it's a really good idea or tip, make additional requests over email, or just kind of confirm that over email and then save the employer's response in case there's any future disagreement. So if you agree on something just during a verbal interview, email them and just kind of mention that again, and then they would agree to it, or they would also say that again via email. Then you have it in writing, and then you save that, and then you can show that as proof. Because a lot of times, how can I say, sometimes employers that try to take advantage, especially of foreign teachers, because they think they don't know the local laws of the country that you're moving to. So they try to find sometimes loopholes, and it's a business, teaching English is a business, and sometimes they try to do everything they can to get the best deal for themselves. And so be smart about it and just ask, can I get everything in writing? And then anything that's confirmed, reconfirm that over email so that you have it. That would be my tip. And then you can show you have receipts. You can show the receipts. That's very important. Okay, and lastly, bonus, or one last tip, not bonus question. One last tip. Of course, it's kind of the most important tip, right? So you negotiate all of these things, and then after the interview and everything, they will send you the teaching contract. And then before you sign the contract, you really need to make sure that you read it and you understand every word, and especially the fine print, okay? And once everything has been discussed and agreed upon, and then you have it in your contract as well, make sure everything you discussed, all of your benefits, your bonuses, your housing, airfare, everything is in the contract. Everything that you talked about that they agreed upon has to be in the contract. Make sure it is in there. And once everything looks good, you can accept the offer and then sign the contract, and then you can start your teaching English abroad adventure. So that's usually how it works. Also have somebody maybe read over the contract, a friend, a family member, if you have to, somebody with legal expertise, I don't know. But actually with this kind of stuff, I did a live session in the past that is called Teaching Contracts, What to Watch Out Before You Sign. So this would be kind of the next part to this live session. So check it out. There's a lot of things to watch out for. All the little fine print things, and just make sure you know what you're doing. A lot of people, they're fresh. A lot of EFL teachers are young college graduates, right? And maybe you have not signed that many contracts yet. And also you think, well, must be right if my employer sends me that. And I don't know the local laws over there. Must be okay. Must be right if I sign it. Sometimes it's not. So just better safe than sorry. So I recommend checking out this live session. You can find it in our playlist. You can Google that, teaching contracts, what to watch out for before you sign. And watch that. I go over everything in detail, all of the teaching contract things with examples of real contracts. So make sure you check it out. And then you're really set and you're good to go to interview, to sign your contracts, negotiate, and then to start your teaching adventure. Because a lot of times this is something a lot of people just kind of skip over. We're so excited. You completed your TEFL course. you are ready to go abroad. You're so excited, you got this job offer, you just sign it so you're there quicker. But it's such an important decision. Do not take that lightly, and really be careful. That's my advice. And with that, I think we are in Q&A now. So again, we have a 30% discount code right here. You can scan it. I'm going to share it one last time in the comments as well, so you can check it out. 30% off your TEFL or TESOL course from ITTT. We only share this during our live sessions, as I mentioned. And again, if you're listening to this as a podcast, it is in the description. The link is in the description. And then the stage is open for you. Ask me your questions, either about today's topic, what we just discussed, if something was not clear, or if you wanted to add something, if you have some feedback, or any other question that you have for me today. I'm all ears, and I am happy to answer it. I still have a couple of minutes here that I can answer your questions. So let me know. And then Amitabha said they wanted a live session about in-depth discussion about the whole interview process. I'm going to prepare that, and that is also coming. Maybe next week already. We'll see how quickly I can prepare that. But that is something that will come. More in-depth overall TEFL interview preparation, so that you're gonna nail it. You're gonna nail your interview. But today's session is definitely also part of that, right? Usually this would be asked at the end, right? Do you have any questions for us? And then these are the questions that you can ask, or just even before interviewing, you could email them these questions. And then if there's an answer that you really don't like, you don't even have to waste your time interviewing, right? If it's like, oh no, we don't provide housing, then it's like, okay, next. If that's something that's, important to you, it depends. You can weed them out already before you schedule any interview. And as always, also don't forget to like and subscribe. We go live every week this time. So if you like and subscribe, then you get notified. You see whenever we have scheduled a new live and what the topic is, and then you can just easily join and participate. And it's all free. It's all free information. What's not to like? What's not to like? All right. Don't be shy, guys. I'm sure somebody has a question out there. I am ready. I'm ready to answer it. I'm keeping my eye here on the comment section. Oh, I'm going to have some coffee. Well, maybe there are no questions, and then we can just stop for today as well. That's all good. I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds. As you might know, there's always a bit of a delay actually between me and then you guys seeing it live. About a 30 second delay, I heard. So just want to make sure I'm not ending it too early when somebody's typing away a question. But yeah. Also, even if I end the live and then you type a question, you leave a comment, we will get back to you as well. So don't worry. And as always, is this one more? No, we don't have one more slide. But as always, you can email us here. I shared that earlier. This is our email address, courses@tsol-tefl.com. So if you have any questions, anything you want to know, then we'll get back to you as well. So, all right. And I think there are no questions for today. Everything answered. I'm happy about that too. And I will get the next topic ready for next week. And then we can have another discussion more in depth about TEFL interviews and how you nail it. And with that being said, I wish everyone a wonderful weekend. and stay happy, stay healthy. And I really appreciate you guys staying on and watching this live session. It really means a lot to me. I know a lot of you guys are. It's very early for a lot of you guys, very early, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So I really appreciate that. And a lot of you guys might already be in vacation mode and you're not here. But I really appreciate you guys. And I hope I'll see you again next week. I'll be here and I hope you too. And with that being said, I'm going to say bye-bye and see you next time. Thank you. Bye.